Flowis is trying to sneak somebody out of the sky and was not able to hit it, but a valiant effort. Valiant effort, but just a little wide. Might have given him a haircut, but not going to connect. No storm surge tags in play there. We see Kami pick up a huge elim. Flowis trying to get involved here. Finds the first tack shot. Gets the second onto Vadil, who had picked up Savage. So Savage, again, going down early, only picking up an elim and the 2 placement thresholds. 3 points for him there. As we continue through, you can see Flowis and Scribs still in. Keelix as well. Skite, one of the now veterans, and they call them boomers in the lobby. 3 players in EU are 20 years old, and that is the oldest players who are in the match. But Skite has been around and qualified for nearly every one of these finals. But we're hopping on board here with Quartz Froggy, who had an absurd, just absolutely gross run in heat number 2 to qualify himself. Pushed himself, I think it was like 19 or 20 points in the final game to get here, but so far quiet on the day. No eliminations, but a decent loadout as we now transition into those fully moving zones, which means all the safe zones are outside, completely away from the current one, and everyone is going to have to move if they want to avoid that storm damage.
And luckily for him, it seems like it's pulling towards him, so he doesn't have to invest those crash pads right away. He can look for eliminations, as you see sitting in the code, allows him that opportunity to find these rotations as well. You see just bouncing away through the crash pads, doesn't have to worry about it. Squeeze is going to fall there in the feed. That's an important one to note there, because we talked about it, we hyped him up, falling down before that 40th placement threshold as well. He's not going to end on a lot of points. The question is, how many points can Froggy end up on? How many points can the rest of the lobby end up on as this game continues to go on? We see Kiriachi, we see Mongrel, we see Letwick there in your screen as well. And Froggy looks to have taken high ground with that. The shots go through. He's going to get that player down in low HP. It's Cammy going down. What a huge pickup there by Froggy, but he's not done yet. There's another player on the other side. So he does disengage, so he does have mats to build around with and to just drop down layers if he wants to. It seems he's content on focusing around high ground.
Yeah, and Benji and Hen also picking up a pair of elims there in the feed as we close in on the next placement threshold. It'll be top 30, and then every 5 players going down. Storm Surge will also turn off his top 30, and we're closing in on it. There it is. Scouts picking up a pair to make sure he gets there. That's ADN and Diablo, who we saw yesterday going down. Thomas also goes down, and then Become Legends Rifle picks up Benji Fishy. Deceptos ends up getting Skite as well going down there. Lechy picking up Styler, but we're still on board here with Quartz Froggy, and we saw how much work he can do on the mid-ground tarp here, and he's continuing to run through with that charge shotgun, picks up Scouts as well, and we're in through another placement threshold. So this is what happens as we start getting in the moving circles. All the action for, so keep an eye. Flowis all the way up on the high ground. Kiko has priority on the low ground, and then everyone else is the tarp in between. But Hen and Reason are still up on the mid-tarp.
I think Flowis was able to pick up that shockwave launcher from what it looked like. He may have used a crash pad to take it, but Mongrel, I believe, going to fall there on the backside. Rezon still in this game, getting eliminations. Hid, thing on 4. Crash pad will come out here for Hid. He does have a lot of materials left. Carrot picking up 3 eliminations there on the backside. As shots come through onto Hid, he is going to be able to block it off, and the capitalization there on the Snazy will be good as he realized already losing HP. Kinsel going to take down a player there as well. Anas going to fall. Flowis does have what it seems like a crash pad to maintain high ground, but Bad Sniper coming up. Decepto's coming up as well. Everybody is coming up for high ground. Rezon just trying to make it through.
And everyone pushing for the high ground right now, but not necessarily paying attention to what's going down the low ground where people are cleaning up on eliminations. You have Flowis in your top right, Froggy in your bottom right, everyone else on the wide. You can see Flowis is up on that ultimate high ground. Deceptos in hand down on that low ground with Reason just above them. Froggy waiting for his opportunity, but keep an eye on the number of builds because we're getting down to the final one. Flowis going to pick up an elimination there, and he's doing a really good job at just maintaining that high ground control as we're closing in on our top 5. One more player will go down, and then it's all about getting to the top 3. Boom, we have it. Letwick, Bad Sniper, Froggy, Hen, and Flowis, top 5 in game number 1.
And Flowis looking to close it out 4 eliminations, but Froggy down below, you cannot count him out yet. He is right there. If he takes down Flowis from below, that'll be so huge for him because he will get that shockwave launcher, get that mat refresh. Letwick's very, very low. More than likely going to be edited down. The shots come through, but no, Flowis going to be able to take him down. Froggy gets down Hid. In the meantime, 1v1 Froggy versus Flowis. A shockwave launcher up above. Froggy trying to dodge him. Flowis sending him down. He's trying to, but he's running out of mats. 15 builds remaining, and Froggy does not look like he's stopping anytime soon. Going out in the zone, taking some damage. Going to shockwave himself down. Little Mitro classic. Shotgun does come through. The shockwave is going to send them flying. Shots come through. Flowis is going to get the beam, and he takes down Froggy for the victory royale.
Really, really good job from Flowis executing on the top-down push with the mythic weaponry, but more importantly, showing the versatility of that shockwave launcher, launching himself down and then finding a gap to launch the opponent out, tracking him, and picking it up with the AR. Match number 1 is done. Fury Flowis taking home the victory royale, but we'll see where the leaderboard shakes out. We're going to toss it back on over to Zeke, Shio, and Balo.
Man, a strong start here in EU, really coming out with a nice flow. Flowis finding himself the victory royale. Guys, this final fight between Froggy and Flowis, both players walk into that 1v1 with 5 eliminations. The Elim and the victory royale is going to be that 4-point swing. This is gonna be a good tone setting for the rest of the competition.
We saw it in every region, right? 1 point matters, and that's a 4-point difference for that win and the Elim. The coolest thing, though, to me was the versatility for Flowis and how he was playing every single engagement differently and using his entire kit to be able to hold first overall in Europe right now. 6 eliminations, 20 points, and that victory royale.
Yeah, but there's also other people lurking near too, and with only the first game, don't forget there's 6. People are starting to establish themselves. I see Hen in 3rd place right now with 15 points, a sign that he could actually be on that hot streak. Hen, a very hot and cold player. Letwick, though, played significantly well yesterday, and he's there again in towards the top placements, and also with a couple elims to put himself in 4th place, but Kinzel too. And then the rest of this, I think, is kind of maybe a little different than what we might expect in towards the end of the day. You have Carrot, you had Decyptos, you had a Nas. I mean, there are some of these guys who have the potential to win for sure, but I don't know if that's quite it yet.
Yeah, I think at the top, I mean, obviously this is such a strong start. 20 points for Flowis. Now he's off the line, but he needs to take that next step and turn this into a full-on sprint toward the end. Is this the momentum he needs to do this, though?
Yeah, I mean, for all the people over here, that's the same kind of question, right? And if you haven't seen the standings leaderboard before, the eliminations are the total overall over the 6 games we're playing, as well as the points. And that's a combination of the placement and elims these guys have. So Lecce got 5 points of placement that game in 22nd place, and 2 eliminations. That's 1 point each. But for these guys, they're kind of sitting at 30th place. They don't have to go for a top 25 anymore. No one has to go for top 50. Everyone here is focused on that win, and they're just slightly behind. Still, though, really hot off the gate.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that people have to figure out on this first game. There are a lot of things and changes to what people might have been expecting. The plan, Zeke, you talked earlier about how these guys are all starting to do their research and whatnot. It shifts a little bit in grand finals. People start to make decisions and play with the mind a little bit of each other to, force things that you might not be comfortable with.
A lot of that is going to dictate that drop spot, right? And how that could, I mean, we're talking about 100 of the very best in the world. If I'm going somewhere and my peer is going somewhere that I'm used to playing with and against, that is going to dictate my play and theirs.
I mean, it always starts from the early game, right? Just in general, the entire tournament, from game number 1, your mentality is set in if you do well, if you do bad, and now everyone has different expectations. If you're like Flowis, you're at the top spot, you guys mentioned it. Now it's a game of endurance, of holding it and not faltering when things go bad.
And in the grand finals, we have seen tournament after tournament. Being uncontested increases your chances of winning tournaments by tenfold, if not more than that. So being uncontested means you have nobody landing with you. You might be familiar with landing in a hot spot. You don't.
Yeah, the opposite of that is contested when someone is there. And Mr. Savage and Noah Ryan